Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a horror mystery film, You Shall Not Sleep. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a wild-haired young woman in a white nightgown walking the deserted halls of a building at night. In an adjoining room, she finds a woman sitting in a chair. She is brushing her hair repeatedly. An imposing blonde woman named Alma presents the same young woman to a crowd. She's no longer in the dark hallway, but is actually encased in a glass cage. She is sitting in a chair and brushing her hair repeatedly. Alma introduces the young woman as Marlene. She explains that Marlene hasn't slept for over 100 hours. Her brain's fatigue is now causing her to be trapped in a limbo where she experiences terrifying hallucinations like the one she just had of walking in a hallway and seeing the chair woman. Whenever she sees that woman, Marlene copies her movements and is forced to repeat the exact moment endlessly. Back in the limbo, Marlene turns around and sees that the chair woman is no longer there. Similarly, the real Marlene stands up in the glass cage and places her hands on the glass. Inside the limbo, she wanders around the bedroom she is in. She inspects the closet and rifles through the clothes. When she closes the door, an unknown faceless creature jumps out and attacks her. Almost a decade later, a young brunette theater actress named Bianca is about to go on stage and perform. She hears from a friend that Alma, a famous stage director, is in the audience. Bianca is ecstatic to have the opportunity to be a supporting actress in the play. She just has one problem, her father. She has been taking care of him because he's prone to psychotic tendencies. He reads an article in the newspaper that mentioned her role in the play, and he becomes paranoid that someone will kill Bianca. So he rushes to the theater and surprises his daughter. It's now only a few minutes before her curtain call, and Bianca is forced to deal with her ill father. She leads him to her dressing room and calms him down by drawing a protective circle around him. He makes him believe that no one will touch him as long as he's inside the circle. But when she returns after the show, her father is no longer there. Bianca is approached by a professor. He tells her that he's working with Alma on her new experimental production. Alma has established a reputation as a director, willing to push the limits. For her new project, she revisits the concept of sleep deprivation that she briefly worked on in 1975. She recently moved her new cast to an abandoned asylum to apply a more immersive acting method. However, one of the actresses quit because she couldn't take it. So the professor offers her spot to Bianca, but he warns Bianca that being in that asylum can take her to a very vulnerable mental state. Bianca is flattered, but she replies that she has to take care of her father. The professor gives her 2 days to make up her mind and reminds her that Alma is the best director, and she can take her career to new heights. Bianca goes home that night to the apartment she shares with her father. She knocks on his bedroom door, and he knocks back. She also leaves a tray of food outside his door. She settles inside her bedroom and pops an old TV interview of Alma on the VCR. The interview was filmed in the middle of Alma's production with Marlene years ago. She described that Marlene had not slept for 3 days, unlocking something raw and primal in her acting. Alma smugly explained that she wants to do things never done before. At the present, Bianca's father suddenly appears in her bedroom with a knife. He has a desperate look in his eyes, saying that because Bianca's name and face are on the newspaper, he has to cut her hair so their enemies won't recognize her. The father ends up injuring her arm instead. Upon seeing that he has hurt his daughter, he comes to his senses and quickly sobers up. Bianca decides that she can no longer take care of her father. She calls a mental facility to come and pick him up so he can get psychologically treated. The next day, she visits the home of Marlene, the actress who used to work with Alma. Marlene is not really willing to tell Bianca what happened and why she and Alma fell out. Bianca ends up stealing Marlene's journal. Bianca makes up her mind and calls the professor. A day later, he picks her up in his van. When Bianca opens the door, she's surprised to see that her classmate in drama school is there. The classmate is a doe-eyed young actress who is friendly with Bianca. She tells Bianca that the professor also offered her the same part and that Alma would decide between her and Bianca at the end of their experiment. While traveling, the professor hands Bianca the script. The 3-act play was written by an anonymous author, although the ending is missing. It's about a mother struggling with postpartum depression, who ends up disfiguring her face and trying to drown her baby in the bathtub. They eventually reach the abandoned mental asylum, a huge foreboding mold and abandoned building. Bianca goes to her assigned room to unpack. Minutes later, she begins to hear distant screams. The classmate also hears the screams, and together, they trace it to a wing downstairs. They peek into the keyhole and see that Alma is having a session with an older actress named Sarah in a nightgown. The actress is wailing and screaming about her hallucinations. The professor appears and ushers the 2 girls inside so they can finally meet the famous Alma. Hovering over Sarah is a man dressed in a wolf costume. He is the son of Alma. Alma stands up from her perch and delicately hugs Sarah. She whispers that her performance is still lacking something. Bianca pipes up and says that she is missing the fear that all actors feel when they first step into their roles. Later that day, Sarah gives Bianca and the classmate a tour of the facility. She tells them that she is currently on 40 hours without sleeping. She also adds that the small group divides chores among themselves, and they also make sure that they do their part to keep everyone awake. They all sit down for a meal. Alma announces that she's excited to see how sleep deprivation will all make them more bold and creative. That night, Bianca tries to learn her lines. Alma's son knocks on her door and gestures toward the lit candle he's holding. He tells her that if she looks closely at the flames, she will see them. Bianca is not in the mood for his games, so she shuts the door on his face. A few moments later, someone knocks on her door again. She thinks that it's the son again, but when she opens the door, there's nothing but a lit candle waiting for her. She picks up the item and holds the flame close to her eye. True enough, she sees the shadow of a man slinking across the room. The next day, Bianca performs a scene in front of Alma for a test, but the director does not like her performance at all. She remarks that Bianca is not opening herself up to the pain that her character is supposed to feel. As a consequence, the classmate wins this round. Alma gives her the slippers that the main character wears, since she believes that shoes are the first thing one should get when getting into a role. Morning comes, and Sarah congratulates Bianca for making it 24 hours without sleeping. She sees the migraine pills that Bianca is holding and asks for some. Later that day, Bianca thinks she sees someone going into the son's workshop, but when she steps inside, it's just him there. The son enlists her help in making some of the props for the play. While working, he tells her that his mother Alma only ever leaves for the adoration of the audience, which is why she's so hell-bent on getting the production finished. The son leaves the workshop for a moment. Bianca notices that the pieces of paper they are using for the props are actually pieces of a map of the theater stage arrangement for the same play they are rehearsing for. The son comes back and congratulates Bianca for lasting 36 hours without sleeping. When he sees the paper, he lies and tells her that he was the one who made the map and then discarded it. But she points out that the date scribbled on the map was 1963. Bianca and the classmate confront Alma about the discovery. Alma reveals that the play is actually based on the journal of a former female patient of the asylum they are in. The journal was then turned into a play that was performed by the patients as part of their therapy. This female patient mysteriously died due to pneumonia shortly after, but Alma believes she died because of sadness. The next day, Bianca performs her lines while soaking in a bathtub. When she emerges from the water, she turns around and realizes that Alma and the others have disappeared, and there's a strange shadow in front of the glass. She submerges again, and when she opens her eyes, she sees the patient coming toward her. Bianca dunks herself again and gets transported to a room lit with dark blue light. She peeks out of the tub and sees the bloody corpse of a man slumped on the floor. She hides behind the curtains as the female patient comes in and washes her hands. Bianca is about to sneak out of the tub when the patient appears and drowns her in the water. She finally surfaces back in the real world, gasping for air. Alma congratulates her for finally unlocking the portal to another world. All of Alma's favorite protégés had this mysterious ability. She then commands the classmate to give Bianca the slippers, signifying that Bianca is now her favorite. When Alma leaves, Bianca discovers that there are claw marks on her shoulder. That night, she goes through the journal she stole from Marlene. She discovers that Marlene had written about hallucinating the chairwoman. She even wrote the chairwoman's name thousands of times. Bianca then notices something behind the wallpaper in her room. She peels it off and discovers that the missing ending to the play is written on the walls in blood by the patient. She reads one of the lines and remembers that Alma had said it to them before, proving that the director did know about the missing ending all along. Bianca shows this to her classmate, who doesn't believe that Alma has nefarious intentions. But Bianca is resolved to follow her hunch. She and the classmate break into Alma's private cupboard in the kitchen. Inside are several asylum patient files from the 1960s, revealing that the man and woman who were in the asylum with the female patient had similar personalities with Alma's son and Sarah. The woman Sarah was obsessed with drugs, while the man was a pyromaniac. Finally, a newspaper clipping details how the patient murdered her husband and set their house on fire due to her psychotic tendencies. It's mentioned that the patient died of smoke inhalation during a performance of her play. Alma walks inside the kitchen, and Bianca hides inside the cupboard. Alma announces to the classmate that she has received a letter from Marlene. She quickly places the letter inside the cupboard. Bianca reads it and sees that Marlene is discouraging Alma from doing the sleep deprivation play. Later that night, Bianca presses a lighted candle near her eye to see the ghost once again. A woman with a horrifying face appears behind her. The son convinces Bainka that everything she saw is just fiction. He says that the female patient didn't really die of smoke inhalation, since they do not use real fire in their performances. Bainka talks to Sarah next. She asks her if she's the one stealing Bainka's painkillers. Bainka has her back turned to Sarah. While they're talking, suddenly, a different voice asks Bainka if she's really sure that she's talking to Sarah. Bainka whips around and sees that Sarah is gone. Instead, the female patient appears to her, with blood running down her pale face. The beds start to move on their own accord, and Bainka cowers on the floor. A moment later, the patient is gone. In fear, Bainka immediately runs to the professor and asks him to help her get out of the asylum. The professor informs her that he doesn't have the authorization to take her outside, so he'll have to talk to Alma first. Alma approaches Bainka and asks her if she really did see the female patient. Bainka confirms it. Alma then declares that Bainka does not have what it takes to be a star. She orders her to pack her bags. Bainka says goodbye to her classmate, and then the professor drops her off at the bus station. Marlene appears and talks with Bainka. She finally reveals that almost a decade ago, she underwent the same sleep deprivation regimen. She would get access to the limbo and would see the chairwoman who keeps brushing her hair. When Marlene hit 108 hours without sleep, the chairwoman possessed her and attempted to kill Marlene by putting a plastic bag over her face. Bainka then realizes that she's about to hit 108 hours without sleep too. Marlene urges her to rescue her classmate since she believes that Alma wants one of them to be possessed by the patient. She also surmises that Alma's son and Sarah are being possessed by the former patients as well. Marlene drives Bainka back to the asylum, although she just stayed outside because she doesn't want to be controlled by Alma again. Bainka finds her almost catatonic classmate and rescues her, but the classmate betrays her and calls the others to the kitchen so they can trap Bainka. Alma also enters the room and reveals that Marlene was working with her all along. They forcibly drown Bainka in the tub in order to trigger her ability to go to limbo and communicate with the patient. Soon after, she wakes up in the blue room once again. The same dead man is slumped on the bathroom floor. She realizes that the man is the patient's husband that she had stabbed to death. Bainka walks outside and sees the patient dousing the house with gasoline, just like what the newspaper clipping said. Bainka wakes up back in the real world, but this time she's already possessed by the female patient. She starts dousing the asylum with gasoline as well. In limbo, Bainka steps inside the room and sees that there's a baby inside a crib. Surprisingly, the baby is wearing the same necklace that her classmate is always wearing. She suddenly realizes that the classmate is actually the daughter of the patient. The patient sees Bainka and tries to attack her. Bainka dodges her and draws a protective circle around the crib. She then gets the necklace from the baby and uses it to unlock the music box she had found. The music stops the patient in her tracks and reminds her that she loves her daughter. In the real world, the classmate approaches the possessed Bainka and speaks to her mother for the first time. She says that she never believed the story that her mother tried to drown her in the bathtub. The patient tells her that she had always loved her daughter, despite the mental illness clouding her judgment. It's then revealed that the classmate's real purpose in joining the play is to find out whether her mother tried to drown her or not. During the big fire back then, the mother actually tried to save the baby with water in the bathtub instead of drowning her. Right then, Alma proudly looks at the two of them. All of a sudden, claps and cheers echo through the room. Bainka returns her body, and she realizes that there's an audience watching them behind the door. They are all in awe of the play and Bainka's acting. It turns out, Alma did it all to prove humans can open the portal to the hell dimension via sleep deprivation, so she can get the praise she always craved. While they're all taking their final bow, Alma's son, who is still possessed by the pyromaniac patient, is controlled to spit gasoline at the crowd like the pyromaniac did in the past. He then grabs a lighted torch and sets the asylum on fire. The crowd runs out in panic, but Alma grabs Bainka, intending for her to die that very night. But the possessed son whacks his mother in the head and kills her instead. He and Sarah stay behind and are killed by the roaring fire. The professor rescues Bainka in time and takes her to safety. 5 months later, Bainka's father is out of the facility. She receives a copy of a newly published book that depicts the suicides of Alma's theater group members at night. Bainka then sees a bug crawling on her sofa. The bug reminds her of Alma. Just to be sure, she holds a lighter flame close to her eye to see if there are ghosts around. The movie ends with Bainka flinching as she sees someone, indicating the nightmares from her opening the portal to hell are far from over. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.